Usually this is Football Friday, but I think this is Epiphany Friday. What a game last night. By the way, 4 hours powered by our friends at BetUS. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out their website. Make sure you check out their betting house. We're very proud to be teamed up with BetUS, so make sure you check our friends out. What a game last night. Overtime victory for the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins. What a game. What an absolute quarterback display. 15th greatest passing effort in NFL history. 107 years. 107 years last night. Kirk Cousins throws for 509. By the way, the other guy on the other side, he's got 3 touchdowns last night. This guy's having a great year himself. You know who's leading the NFL in passing yards? Kirk Cousins. Unbelievable. You hope your quarterback, if you have a quarterback that's suspect right now, plays like Cousins. Silsey's never won a Super Bowl. Who says it's easy? I'm going to make a point to you about winning a Super Bowl. I was going to save this for later on, but let's do it now. Who is the only elite quarterback in the last 10 years to play in the National Football League and win a Super Bowl in that prestigious game? Who's the only non-elite quarterback in the last 10 years? Can you name him? Oh, excuse me. That's right. How could I forget the signature? Big Sills. How you doing? Who is the only quarterback in the last 10 years to win that game and win that Super Bowl and he's not elite? Can you name him? Can you name him? Nick Foles. Here. 23, Mahomes. 22, Mahomes. 21, Stafford. 20, Brady. 19, Mahomes. 18, Brady. 17, Nick Foles. 16, Brady. 15, Manning. 14, Brady. What in the world makes you think Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl? Because what, he played in one? What makes you think any of these other guys can win a Super Bowl? You have to have the elite guy. That's why I tell you, these dual threat ain't winning shit. Dual threat. All them pocket passers, hook me up with the guy who's going to win a Super Bowl. Let me hurt your feelings some more. Last 2 years, National Football League. The 3 quarterbacks with the most sacks, interceptions, and fumbles. Number 1, Bryce Young. 92, Carolina Panthers. Number 2, Sam Howell. 91, Seattle Seahawks. Number 3, Jalen Hurts. I mean, my friends, you've got to have an elite guy to win that game, and you ain't got one. Then again, a lot of teams around the national, there's like 4 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. That word elite versus good, okay, versus good. Can you win a Super Bowl with a good quarterback? Obviously, you can't. You got to have a guy who makes a play from the pocket. Hey, you can have the best rosters. And by the way, I think Brock Purdy's a really good player. By the way, This is just not an Eagle thing. Okay? Brock Purdy wasn't good enough to beat Mahomes. The two best rosters in the last two Super Bowls took L's in that game. Are you crazy? Aaron Rodgers is superior to Jalen Hurts right now. And he's 41. Aaron Rodgers at 41 is better than Hurts will ever be. Hurts' 2022 season was an average year for Aaron Rodgers. That was an average year. That was an average season. Hurts' greatest year is Rodgers' average year. That's how great that guy is. Jason Peters. Xander just told me yesterday, that Jason Peters just signed a contract to play in the National Football League again at 42. That's elite. That's an elite football first ballot Hall of Famer when they're begging you at 42 and you don't want to play anymore and they're begging you to play at 42. Jason Peters is elite. That's an elite football player. I don't want to play anymore. Why? I'm 42. He's 42 years old and they're begging him to still play. That's freaking elite. That's freaking elite. Sills, how about Cousins throwing for over 500 last night? What a game. He was spectacular. By the way, you would never take Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield right now. And not in a chance. Not in the world. You would never do that. Get this. Watch this, folks. You want to make M. Reyes look like a dick only 7 minutes into the show? Hey, M. Reyes, would you take Jalen Hurts right now over Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins? You want to feel good about all yourselves? And you want to have a laugh? Let's watch M. Reyes here. Hey, Maniac. New Jersey Maniac. Watch this guy here, M. Reyes. M. Reyes, would you take Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield right now? Let's get a good laugh so we can start it off with a smile here. Oh, no, Flexen. No, he's the perfect person to ask. Would you take M. Reyes? What happened? Where'd you go? Would you take Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield right now today? What happened? What happened? His internet connection? What happened to him? Hey, M. Reyes, what happened? Where are you going? M. Reyes, I opened my show 7 minutes in with you, asking you to open my show. Would you take Jalen Hurts right now over Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield? I got to check my internet. Hey, are all your internet's working? Oh, yeah. That Baker Mayfield Super Bowl was fire. So was the one with Kirk Cousins. Hey, guess what, dude? That fucking game is 3 years ago, and it's a one-year aberration. Would you answer the fucking question, would you take Kirk Cousins or would you take Jalen Hurts? Yes or no? Fuck yeah. Here, guys. Lackeys, are you crazy? Jalen Hurts has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the last 2 years in the league. Look at this. Fuck yeah, I'll take Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins. How many people think Kirk Cousins, how many people believe that Jalen Hurts will ever throw for 500 yards in his career? The 15th biggest number of all time. Jesus, Sills. Kirk throws for 500 yards against the Bucs. Do we have the worst quarterback in the league? Now you got it, Brian. Brian, now you got what Kirk Cousins isn't the greatest quarterback in the league. And he fucking shredded the Bucs. How come Hurts couldn't? And by the way, those wide receivers that they have in Atlanta, they're not superstar receivers. Those aren't superstar receivers. Those were the same receivers that played against the Eagles. Murray, Fields, and Lamar on pace to have a better season than Hurts. Those are his comparisons. How about Geno Smith? Because it's probably threw for 500 every game with this O-line and wide receivers. He would. By the way, Xander, I missed a super chat up here, and I believe I think we got him. I think we got them all. Let me know if I missed a super chat there. Drake London is a superstar. Drake London is a superstar compared to Paris Campbell. Come on now. Get this. Drake London? Who the fuck is Drake London? Has Drake London ever had a 1,000-yard season in his career? I must have missed that. You mean the quarterback is making him look better and improving his game? Let's see if we read John. Put that up there, Xander. Let's see if we read John. Drake London? Yeah, we read that one. We did. Let's see. Drake London stats. Let's see what we got here. Drake London. Prior to his showing up, let's see what he's done as a player in his career. I'm interested. And I don't know much about the player. Won't lie. Don't know much about him. So let's see if he's compatible. And he's, like you said, he's some sort of superstar player. Let me think. Let's see. 866 yards, 905, 354. What the fuck are you talking about, guy? Don't make Drake London out to be some star player. He's not. But now he's got a quarterback that gets the ball to him. How you doing? And making them better. 905. Woo! In a 7. Hey, let's show you with flexing here. Watch this flexing. Show you how crazy that is. 905 he had last year. 905 divided by 17. He averaged 53 yards a game last year. That's all you got to do. 53 games. What an impact receiver. Woo! Impact. I wonder what Jahan Dotson would do with Kirk Cousins. Probably resurrect his career. He ain't resurrecting it with Hurts. Holy shit, Jahan Dotson must hate being in Philly. He's open, and he can't get the ball to him. Get this. Cousins isn't even a top 13 quarterback in this league, according to many. He's underrated for sure. He's Dan Marino. He's a modern-day Dan Marino and Phillip Rivers. That's who he is. That's who his comparisons are. He's Phillip Rivers. He throws the ball for as many yards as Phillip Rivers and as many touchdowns. That's what he is. He's Rivers. He's Phillip Rivers. How you doing? Man, this thing is just going downhill fast. Woo. Let me ask you one more time. Guys, would you really take Jalen Hurts over one of those two quarterbacks last night? And they're journeymen. Baker Mayfield? Let's see what Mayfield has right now. I wrote his number. Here's Baker Mayfield. Mayfield has 1164. Obviously, one more game played. 11 touchdowns and 2 picks. And they're 3-2. And he's beat the Eagles 2 games in a row. With your stars and without your stars. And you would take Jalen. Sills, Hurts and Sirianni are actually alike, because what the fuck do these bums ever do? And Jalen Hurts can't hold Shane Falco's jockstrap. Oh my God. Hey, wait, what's this here? Let me see. Hey, New Jersey Maniac, post that bitch again. Uh-oh, Cowboy fan. ABS that threw for 500 yards, can read coverages. It has a good arm, which is why Hurts will never throw for 500 yards or 4,000 yards in a season. Damn. Sill's thoughts on the Phillies this weekend. Yeah, do me a favor, Nick. Don't sell your fucking tickets to Met fans and turn it into something like the New York Knicks showing up there at Wells Fargo so you look embarrassed. And, it's embarrassing because Met fans are going to buy all their tickets up. And because Met fans, they're Jody McDowell. Met fans, they have to root for this is their World Series. Playing the Phillies, this is their World Series. Hey, Met fans, hey, watch this. Here's Met fans. 1969, 73, NL flag. 2000, yeah, man, NL flag. 86, World Series. Make a whole fucking network, SNY, over those little events. 69, 73, 86, and 2000. Congratulations. Hey, it's quite a history. Especially when the other team in New York is the Yankees. I'm sure that goes over well. Don't worry, Jody. Met fans and Fireman Ed, they're usually synonymous with one another. Yeah. Hey, go Mets? Sure. Don't worry. They'll be Hey, don't worry. By the end of October, they'll be Yankee fans. Sills, what would be quicker? What would be a quicker avenue? Getting rid of Sirianni or Jalen Hurts? Getting rid of Hurts. Shit, Hurts is actually making Sirianni look worse. It's not vice versa. He's a coach killer. He's surely a coordinator killer. We aren't the Sixers. Phillies have expectations. Fair enough. Fair enough. Quarterback's making the head coach look shitty. How you doing? Sileo, what would Bryce Young do with the Eagle offense? Depends who the coach is. This has nothing to do with Hurts' ability, really. They're not coaching to his strengths. They're coaching to his weakness. They think they can make him better because they think they know better. That's the story of the Eagles front office. They don't work to your strengths. They work to your weaknesses. And then they say you suck after that because why? Then they start throwing out your cancer, your poor teammate. I'm starting to believe that the Philly front office and Bob Lang and all them, I think they sent propaganda on Wentz saying he was a shitty teammate. He was a shitty locker room guy. And I think they polluted the environment around him. You know why? Because they're saboteurs. They sabotaged Doug Peterson. They sabotaged Carson Wentz. And now they're sabotaging Sirianni in many ways. Because what they're doing is they're placating to a quarterback who's not good in that style of play. It's simple to see. You don't have to be the smartest guy on the planet to see this. I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't use your eyeballs and see what I'm seeing, you're jaded by your Kelly Green. And I get it. That's sometimes the problem here. That's why it's so late for some of you to come around on some of the shit we say. Because you're Kelly Green. And by the way, don't lose it. I'm not telling you to lose that. Sills in 21, Jalen Hurts' total time to throw the ball was 3.12, and 22 was 2.76. Well, wait a minute now. Abe, 22 was 2.76. Why? Because it's RPO. Shane Steichen is the only coordinator, Abe, that Jalen Hurts has had that actually fit his system and his style of play, which is a non-quarterback traditional system. The Eagles, the reason, get this, they spent all that money on those wide receivers is the biggest mistake in the history of Jalen Hurts' career. Okay, you know why? You may have two great wide receivers. Baltimore doesn't have them. It's for a reason. Why would I have, and why would I pay gigantic money to a wide receivers in a system that the quarterback's not really going to throw the ball? They're going to run the ball in that system. Baltimore doesn't pay any money. They drafted a kid out of Boston College. They don't have anybody up there. And they won 14 ball games with the quarterback style of play with Todd Monken. They placate to his style. I don't know if that style will ever win, but the guy who's going to get the closest, in my opinion, to winning that game, actually, because he carries the team, is Lamar. Lamar doesn't really have anybody outside the tight end. Now, they've added Henry, but he won 14 games last year with nobody on that team. And he was the MVP. That guy carried that team to the AFC best record in home field advantage. Lamar Jackson is a superior player to Jalen Hurts, and it's not close. He's superior. He can carry a football team, and he does. Wait till that matchup comes up later in the year. You're going to defend Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson with that fucked up defense? Wow. You might have two guys running for 200 yards in that game. There's going to be some posterized moments in that game for that Eagle defense. Unless you get a whole can of courage. You better drink a case of courage before that game because you're going to get your ass kicked. Soundly. Hurts might not get on the field in the second half. They may not. Okay, get this. Baltimore is coaching that player right. Get this. Think about what John Harbaugh did. Okay? Think about what he did. He went from Joe Flacco, a standard drop back quarterback. Look, hey, here, Xander, here is the prime example of what Baltimore did versus what the Eagles did in coaching Hurts. This is totally an organization failure. They failed Wentz, and now they're failing Hurts. You had Joe Flacco, who won a Super Bowl for you and an MVP Super Bowl. You had a guy who won a lot of games for you. The organization decided to move off him. Did they keep the style of play by throwing the ball with Anquan Bolden and with Kadri Ishmael and guys like that? No. What did they do? They completely revamped the offense, fit it to Lamar's style of play, and Lamar has systematically won 2 MVPs. And by the way, look at his journey compared to Jalen Hurts' journey. Last week, he beat Josh Allen. This week, he's got Joe Burrow. That's who that guy has to go through on a weekly basis. He's not going through Baker Mayfield and fucking Derek Carr. He's going through the elite guys in the league. And he's got Mahomes 2 games later. Think about that. That's going to elevate his game even more so. He's 26 years old and he's got 2 MVPs. I'll tell you what, if he's fortunate enough to get to a Super Bowl and win it, he's going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He still may go. He's going to win another MVP. He's going to have as many as Brady. Lamar Jackson's going to win another MVP. He's not 30. He just turned 26. Dude, your guy can't even beat Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins. I mean, what's Hurts' excuse? I told you I'd come down like a thunderbolt if this fucking guy started stumbling and not looking like the player. You guys said there's no excuses. Stop making them. Stop making them. It's over. Guy's common. Saying it for 4 years. He's a one-year wonder. I used to get killed on this station. I used to get killed in the Philly media. Sileo's being hyperbolic and just doing it for trolling and fucking clicks. Well, it's playing out to be true now. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Told you, as soon as they got Henry, they were a threat to win it all. Charlie, they just have to figure it out, and they had to figure it out in the first 2 weeks, how to utilize both of them. Think about that. It only took them 2 weeks. Totally only took them 2 weeks. Yeah, hey, B-Mac, a lot of teams could have drafted Lamar. A lot of teams could have drafted Lamar Jackson. He was 32nd player taken. And by the way, that was the parting gift left by Ozzie Newsome with all the great players that he's drafted there in Baltimore. That was his parting draft pick. Lamar Jackson. Another you're welcome. Steve Biscotti's got to look at that and go, fuck, man, what a GM. You know, Ozzie Newsome was going to the Hall of Fame as, obviously, as a player because he was a great player. But Ozzie Newsome would have gone to the Hall of Fame. He may still, again, they may have to redo his plaque as a general manager. You could make the argument that Ozzie Newsome is arguably one of the greatest players and people to come out of Alabama, and the biggest impact that Alabama has had on a football player, GM in the NFL since Namath. Since Namath. Since Namath. Reyes, your guy sucks. Your guy sucks. There's no debating it. Get this. So a guy with a, get this, Angelo says it's crazy. So a guy who's won 77% of his football games and has 2 MVPs at the age of 26, Angelo says it's crazy that he's trending towards the Hall of Fame. How many people believe that I'm crazy saying this? Let's get that number exactly on what his win percentage is. By the way, it's superior to anything Hurts is doing. Lamar Jackson stats. Let's see what his win percentage is as a starting quarterback in the National Football League and in his 2 MVP awards too. And like I said, if he wins a Super Bowl, it's over. So he has let's see here. He's 60-21. That's his record as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. What's the percentage of 60-21? Okay. So this guy's got a 714 win percentage. And Angelo thinks that's a fucking crazy take. The best thing Jalen Hurts did was run the ball. Now he's slower than Reuben Frank and Johnny Mack. The bottomless cannoli night. When it's all done, he will have Vic stats, but he'll have a championship as well, definitely trending towards the Hall of Fame. Hurts can't read a defense. He just wants to lift weights in the training room, get sacked by men because he Hurts has the most turnover plays in the last 22 games. At one point, does he get benched? That owner ain't benching him. Are you fucking crazy? M. Reyes would have a cardiac arrest they benched his love boy. Hey, he'd have a heart attack. He'd have a heart attack. So according to M. Reyes, because he has no championships, Joe Flacco's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. All right. Joe Flacco's a better quarterback than anything Hurts will ever achieve to be. Super Bowl MVP, comeback player of the year. I mean, Super Bowl championship. Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than any quarterback you've ever had in Philly. Who are you kidding? Don't act like you have a guy that played better than him. They paid him too soon, trying to make the Hurts pick work to cover their ass with the situation with Doug and Wentz. Absolutely. Sacked 13 times, tied for 6th in the league. Get rid of the damn football. You would think our O-line is complete garbage. I'm willing to see Pickett. Hey, you're making it sound like Joe Flacco, who's won all them games, championships, been in the AFC championships. You've never had a quarterback ever better than Nick Foles. Or excuse me, better than Joe Flacco. Ever. Don't make it sound like you had one. Here, I'll take that back and make it this way. You've never had a more accomplished quarterback in the Eagle history than Joe Flacco. Like who? McNabb? Okay. You take McNabb, I'll take Flacco in his heyday. And with the organization and with Brian Billick, any day I'll take that. You ain't beating that Ravens team with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed on it. You're not fucking beating those teams. Not happening, guy. Was holding the ball too long affect the O-line? Absolutely. You can make any O-line, no matter how good they are, look like shit. I will never forgive Jalen Hurts for losing on Nick Foles appreciation night. How dare this bum disrespect Big Dick Nick? It's on site with Hurtsy boy. Okay. Who's McNabb? Never heard of him. Never heard of him. We cover winners. Not guys that throw up in vomit bags on airplanes. Or wait, bathrooms or whatever it was. It was McNabb's responsibility, by the way, to work with Owens, not vice versa. The guy was petty, and he was a baby. That's why he never won. I mean, he took a shit on Deshaun Jackson at a Pro Bowl. Was talking shit on all the players there because he was the first player named on a punt returner and also as a wide receiver. And McNabb took a shit on him. Instead of going, wow, this is one of my guys here, and how great is that? He said he didn't deserve it. Why? Because your little shine got rubbed off a little bit and it wasn't about you? Hey, fuck you, Donovan. You're a baby, you cry, and you're jealous. And you're a non-Hall of Famer. I mean, if you couldn't win with Andy Reid, you were never going to win. You were never going to win. McNabb's problems were that he was a tad bit stronger mentally than Wentz, but not much. I don't know. Sills, how do you feel about Bob Brown calling you out? No problem. At all. I don't care. Everyone's got entitled to an opinion here. We don't block people. Unlike most places, someone's got a problem with something, fucking step up to the plate and take your 4 swings. Take your 3 swings. Step up to the fucking plate. What do you think this is here? We run? What do you think we are, WIP? We don't fucking run here. McNabb won more than out. Stop it. I'm not. That's a fucking stupid. That's a stupid fucking line. Baltimore has always been built to run the ball, playing defense. Offense is built for Tanner McKee, not Jalen Hurts. Funny, they got a guy up there that plays that style of football now, and he's won 2 MVP awards. Baltimore, that's right. You guys are still, hey, wait a minute here. So you guys are still in on Hurts. It'll be one more year. It'll be one more year. End of the season. Hey, the cancer's is taking effect. It's watching the patient die. That's what this is. You'll get there. You'll get there. Not quite there yet, but you'll get there. You'll get there. Dallas cares about winning championships. Eagle fans are happy to be there. McNabb was too busy killing worms instead of throwing to receivers, wanted to keep his turnover stats down. Stats were more important than winning. That's what you got with Shedeur Sanders for sure. Okay? Hey, you know the problem that you have? Hey, let me ask you guys this. Hey, Xander, were you and John McMullen talking today about working on some of the things during the bye week here, things they needed to work on? Were you guys talking about that this morning? Wasn't that a topic you had right out of the show at the top? Working on things to get better coming out of the bye. I'm paraphrasing it, I think, here. But wasn't that like a topic that you had? On Birds 365 this morning, Xander? Wasn't it something like that? You guys were talking about things that they needed to work on and right? What do you guys think the Eagles needed to work on in the bye? Huh. Thank you. I know this. That's the beauty of this. I don't have to fucking worry about Bob Lang and the Eagles. They could kiss my ass. Mozzie Smith played better than Hurts last week. He sure did. Look at us here. Wait a minute. Look at. So, Big Chris, work on tackling. What else, guys? Work on football. Okay. Who else? What else? What else do you think the Eagles needed to work on? What else did the Eagles need to work on during the bye? Quicker plays. Okay. What else? Anything else? Nick says everything. Okay. Short passes. Better game plan. Everything. Tackling and coverage. How the hell do pros not know how to tackle? Good question, Steve. M. Reyes, defensive scheme. Everything, Sills. Pick your poison. Raj. Fortnite. That's a good one there. Raj. How can you work on anything when they gave the players the week off? Their great play against the Bucs and their outstanding 2-2 record, they gave the players the week off. Working on what? It's a stupid topic. They didn't work on nothing. They don't think they have a problem. Protecting the ball? They gave the players the week off. Players are not at the NovaCare Center. I mean, they gave them the week off. They didn't work on nothing. All of you guys know they needed to work on stuff during the off week here and the bye week. Cardio. So let me get this right. Jonathan, you think Jordan Davis is working on cardio the week off? Yes or no? You think he's working on cardio? Or Jalen Carter, who was in the oxygen tent, getting an IV? Or you think they're at the country club there in Marion, playing a round of golf with Merrill, teeing it up? Guys had the week off. Sipping mojitos. Famous Giants yacht. Yes, sir, baby. At least TL was doing push-ups and sit-ups in his driveway. Here's your guys. Hitting a 7-iron right down the middle of the fairway. Right there at Marion. Right there at Marion. Teeing it up. Aren't you got to work on your tackling? Fuck that. But wait, don't you have to work on your cadence? Hang on, I'm working on my short game here. Hang on here. It's a 60-degree wedge. There you go. Flop shot. Look at that. You see that flop shot? Wait a minute. No. Aren't you working on pass routes? No, why would I? Huh. I don't know. So it's Imagine Coach Johnson, Parcells, Shula, and Walsh giving guys a week off after a 33-16 shellacking. This team freaking blows cheeks. Hey, your fucking legendary superstar Nick Sirianni, head coach, gave guys a week off after getting their shit kicked in. Boy, man. I can't believe how weak and simple this thing is. This is too fucking easy, man. Holy shit. You got your ass kicked. Isn't there a sense of urgency? I mean, wait a minute, Philly. Philly, you think Nick came up with that to give the guys the week off? That's an organizational thing. Coaches don't give weeks off in season. That sounds like they are putting a plan together in the front office to do something. This sounds fishy. No way. They just sit back and do nothing. Why? They sat back and they allowed, okay? They sit back and allowed you to bring back Nick Sirianni. If they did that, then we are soft as vanilla. Xander, they got the week off, right? John McMullen covers the team as a beat reporter. They should be going hard during the bye. Marcus, ask John McMullen. He's on Birds 365. He's one of the handful of people that get to go behind closed doors in the Iron Curtain, known as NovaCare, and see some of the shit that goes on over there. Very few people get to go behind the Berlin Wall or the NovaCare wall. That's what we'll call it. And see what goes on. They gave him the fucking week off. You get your ass kicked, you're 2-2, and you get the week off. Well, players are hurt, so we got to get them back. Well, Jalen sucks right now, so hopefully, he'll be able to come out of this, and he'll be ready to rock and roll. It's like high school football. I wouldn't do this to a high school football team. You guys had all the answers, and the Eagles applied none of them. We don't need to work on anything. We don't think we're doing anything wrong. We just think we're hurt. That's the Eagle mentality. They don't think nothing's wrong. They're like M. Reyes. They don't think nothing's wrong. They don't think the turnovers are anything wrong. They think Hurts will turn it around. They don't think the defense is bad. They just think they're hurt. They don't think they have the wrong coordinators. They don't think they have the wrong people on defense. Because if they did, you usually do something about it. Hey, when you have a flat tire, do you continue just driving the car with a flat tire? Pull over the side of the road and you fix it. You know what the Eagles do? They drive with the flat tire. They keep driving the flat tire until the wheels all fall off. And that's what happened. That's their mentality. They're going to drive the car until the wheels fall off instead of addressing issues. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. I mean, look, hey, John, you get a flat tire, right? You pull over the side of the road, get the spare out, drive to a safe place, do all the things it takes to get the car up on the jack. Tell your wife what's going on. You address the problem by fixing it. Lug nuts off, don't raise it up yet until you get the lug nuts off. Then you raise it up, get the tire off, tighten the lug nuts, drive home. Here's the Eagles. We're going to drive that bitch until the wheels fall off. We ain't fixing the tire. We don't think the tire's flat. They don't think the tires are flat. At McDonald's now, strawberry shake or apple pie? Strawberry shake. Strawberry shake. Wait, hang on. Prez, what am I wrong about? What am I wrong about? That they gave him the week off? So if it's the organizational incompetence, are we getting a fair evaluation? No. Here. Eagle Podcast. Let me ask you this. How long have you been a Philadelphia Eagle fan? Eagle Podcast. How long have you been a Philadelphia Eagle fan? Since 2007. Okay. When Carson Wentz in 2017 was playing at that level where he looked like he was Brett Favre. He looked like Brett Favre to me. I thought he was the second coming of Brett Favre. I couldn't believe what I was fucking watching. It was like Brett Favre. I'm like, this guy's dual threat. He's accurate. He's a fucking great player. And I mean, wow. Then he gets hurt in Los Angeles. And then the Seattle thing. They coached him different. They never gave him talent. And they coached the greatness out of him. They were sabotaging Doug the whole time because of the assistant coaching fiasco that was going on behind the scenes with pressing them guys. Whether it was right or wrong, you were, let me see, instead of election interference, you were coaching interference. See, that's what the Eagles are. They're the kings of coaching interference. Jonathan Gannon carried us to the Super Bowl. The NFL was trying to help us out by giving us an easy schedule like 22. We still struggled. Who do you have winning the NFC East? Well, at the beginning of the year, I picked the Commanders. I picked the Commanders to win the East. So, podcast. They coached the greatness out of Wentz, and he wasn't mentally tough enough to handle that. And he imploded. I think it's pretty easy to implode with the shit talent you had on the team because there wasn't really anybody at the end. Like Xander said in 20, those guys were trash cans. It was all sabotage. It was you sabotaged two people at the end by throwing the last game of the year in 20 and by sabotaging Doug Peterson and the quarterback. You sabotaged both of them. That's not unbecoming of that organization to do anything like that. I believe they're capable of it. They sabotaged last season. They sabotaged the season last year by coming in and parachuting and firing the coordinators and doing all the kind of crazy shit they did. They sabotaged their own football team last year. They've done it once. They did it twice. They'll do it again. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't know what you people watch. Wow. You guys love that team so much, you will be in denial forever. And what happens is now you become like Xander, really pissed. When you see the light, you're like, fuck that. That's why Eagle fans are the way they are. You know why? Because the organization in Philly does that to you. You put full blind faith in them that they're going to do the right thing. And at the end of the day, you know what they do? They sabotage themselves. And you're sitting there watching, wait a minute, are you not trying to build a championship football team or not here? What are we doing here? Play to the damn kid's strength. Stop trying to, you're not smarter than the game of football, Jeffrey, Howie. Play to the kid's fucking strength. If he blows a knee out next year, so what? It's the league. Things happen. So what? What would you say if Dak played like Hurts? I say this about Dak. Dak is a black version of Kirk Cousins. Dak is underrated. He's a good ball player. He struggles in the postseason. Kirk struggles in the postseason. The only difference between those two guys, one's black and one's white. What else is there? They're the same guy. And are they good? Yes. That's why one makes 48 and the other makes 60. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Seriously, the only difference between Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, one's black, one's white. They're the same quarterback. Same guy. I mean, is it hard to find another version of Steichen? No. He's in Baltimore. Hire Todd Monken as your head coach. If that's hey, look, like Xander said, you're stuck with that contract for the next 3 years. You got to make that bitch work. Why in the world would you hire a guy? So let me ask you this. Did you hire Kellen Moore for the receivers or the quarterback? Who did you hire him for? To get AJ the numbers or to improve Hurts as a quarterback on what he does? Why are you coaching him on the things he does poorly? Are you under some illusion that Nick Saban didn't know? Or anyone, including Shane Steichen, didn't know that Hurts is not a pro-style quarterback? Jalen Hurts is not a pro-style quarterback. Jalen Hurts is a dual-threat weapon. For whatever reason, the Eagles hate running the ball, and that's what they do best. This is frustrating because You can coach the kid back to being the way he was in 22. Somebody put that stat up. Hurts' pocket presence, 2.7. It's 3.2 now. He'll never be successful in that. Because the more you hold the ball, the more your old line looks terrible. Your receiver, by the way, the Eagle receivers are second in the league in being open. Hurts is 25th in accuracy. Sills, is the season over? No. You know why? You're too gifted on offense to play consecutive shitty. I do not believe 20. Hey, get this. I'll tell you. I believe that 23 was as much an anomaly at the end of the year as 22 was an anomaly. You're not going to go through a 1-7 stretch again. I do not believe that. You're going to go up and down now. That's why I picked you to be around 7-9. I upped mine to 9 wins. I picked you to be in there because why? You have a pro-style superstar offensive talented roster, and you have nobody on defense. That's a 50-50 proposition. I heard Xander say something, and I couldn't disagree more. I'm going to show you this here. There's no easy games on this schedule. How would anybody in their right mind think there's an easy game on this schedule when you look at that defense, and the defense is one of the bottom 5 defenses in the league, and think that you'd have an advantage in any game? Where's your advantage? Where in the world is your advantage with that defense? Where's your advantage? I mean, so here. Okay, so you've got the Browns. Are you really going to win that game? I guess. The Giants. I surely hope so. You're not beating the Bengals. You're going to be in a tough battle with the Jags. You're not beating the Cowboys. You're not beating Washington. The Rams? If they get their guys back, the Rams win. I don't know that. You're not beating Baltimore. You beat Carolina. You're not beating the Steelers. You might split with Washington, and you might split with Dallas. You're going to lose one of those Giants games like you did a year ago. You make it fucking sound like you guys have some advantage with that defense being as shitty as it is. Dude, it's one of the 5th worst defenses in pro football right now. How can you say you have an advantage when you're coming out of the but by the way, that's a topic. Hey, Xander's at the bottom of this hour, so let's roll into this. Guys, please hit the like button. Let me ask you this. How important is that win versus Cleveland coming out of the bye week for the Eagles? How important? Look at this. The Jags' offense is shitty. Your defense is shittier. What, you think your defense is better than the Jags' offense? Or is that a push? You're out of your mind. Why are you talking like you have an advantage in any game when you have none? Well, Sills, our offense is better. Okay. Well, there's really 2 sides of the ball. I mean, holy shit. Dude, if I were I would not be schedule watching because you don't have an advantage even against the Giants. You think you do. Your defense is horrible. Not decent. Your quarterback has to play MVP style for you to win the East. And right now he's not. But Sills, he will when he gets his. I do not believe that. You had him all last year. You guys shit the bed down the stretch. You all of a sudden think they're just going to get better? Dude, you wouldn't have beat the Bucks with the players that you needed on the team. It would have been more competitive, but you weren't beating Tampa. You know why? Bulls has Hurts' number. I saw Todd Bowles actually laughing on the sidelines because he was so predictable. After watching the game yesterday and see how they played with heart, how is that this yes man coach is still here? It's unbelievable. I don't know. Dude, if Philly loses that game against Cleveland, then you can start looking at your season going, okay, where are we going now? What are we doing? What kind of changes are going to be made at the end of the year? Do you know your season's teetering? If you had lost that New Orleans game, and then you turn around and you lose, if you would have lost the New Orleans game and the Buck game in consecutive weeks, I think there would have been strong consideration to fire Sirianni and name Kellen Moore the interim head coach. You lose to Cleveland, your season's over. It's over. You don't have leadership to be able to rebound from that. Boy, I'll tell you, I learned one thing about covering your team. That 17 team had fucking dogs on it. That team could be 1-6, and I still think they'd make the playoffs. Backup quarterback, didn't matter. Backup left tackle, Hall of Famer, didn't matter. MVP, didn't matter. Linebacker, didn't matter. Offensive guard, didn't matter. Man, that's a tough team. That's the kind of team that you have to murder, or you hope the plane goes down, because you're not beating them any other way. That's the toughest team in Eagle history. One of the toughest teams I've ever seen. Okay? You're not beating that team. You know, there's certain guys, you get into a fight, you knock them down, that ain't good enough. You got to kill that guy. Because if he gets up, that's the biggest mistake you made. Because he's going to come back at you. Yeah, he's going to come back at you. Hurts is not tough. He's a fraud at that. If he was tough, he would have pulled him out of it last year. He couldn't do it. Now, I don't know, man. I think you guys labeled him a tough guy. And hey, just because you're a hard worker don't mean you're a leader. Welcome to the NFL. Everybody works hard to get here. You can say all that shit you want. Leadership is on display. It's not something that you talk about. You don't talk about leadership. You see it every day. You know, you guys have put C's on people like Darius Slay. I've never seen leadership out of that guy in my entire life. Not when it matters, when you need him the most. I don't need him when things are good and you're in the offseason. I need you when things are going south. Not sitting around fucking grab-assing on a podcast. Dude, leaders are in times of peril and in times of situations that need a leader to make the final call and a decision, and it's his decision. He either wins or he falls on the sword for the rest of the group. That's leadership. Not excuses. There's no excuses for being a leader. Leaders don't have excuses. You're either one or you're not. I mean, there's no gray area. You know, I'll tell you what. Wouldn't it be funny if Doug beats Nick, gets him canned? If we lose the Jags, that could really, man, oh my God, that would, believe me, I bet you Jeffrey Lurie's praying that Doug Peterson gets fired before that game happens. Let me tell you a little here real quick, just some personal thing. My granddad was a fireman and was a fisherman, Italian fisherman. Fireman for 30 some odd years. Grandfather showed up every day, went to work, never missed. Drove a cement truck too. 3 jobs. Heard stories of bricks falling on my grandpa. Should have been in a hospital. Was working construction, or was working on the with Telesco or Genovese, I forget, the cement company. All these bricks fell on him. Grandfather got patched up. My grandmother and my aunt sent his ass to his night shift. My grandfather was considered a leader of his group as a fireman. Never missed a day. Never cried about shit. That's the guy I was raised by. So you'll find it kind of hard for me to sit there and watch guys melt down. And you could see people who are not leaders. Dude, leadership is not something, again, that you sew on a jersey. You know who the best leader is on that Eagle team? It's Devontae Smith, and they don't recognize him. They take him for granted. They take him for granted. Hey, Gardner Johnson's not a captain, right? Right? He's not a captain. They took, hey, what are you saying, Xander? They took his C away? They took Slay's C away? Oh, no, they took Devontae's. Yeah. Of all guys who personify winning, Smitty was a captain last year. This year he was replaced with Jake Elliott, a fucking kicker. I mean, dude, really? I mean, come on. That's embarrassing. Smitty is a guy that represents your city more than any player. Brandon Graham, guys like that, more than any players on that team. And look at how they just overlooked them. That's an absolute microcosm of how they look at people and how they see certain people. They look at Smitty, and you know what they do? They take a guy like that for granted. And you know what he did for you this year? He took a pay cut at wide receiver, and everyone laughed at his deal. Then you turned around and you took a C away. Can you be any more disrespectful to that guy this year? I mean, really, I know that we're only 4 games in, but the guy took a hometown discount for you, and then you turn around and you fucked him over by taking the C away. Jesus criminy. If that was anybody else, if that was AJ, they'd be screaming at the top of their voice. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. No. Don't ever let situations, Cosmo, put you in a position where you pray you lose anything. You just have to get better. Dude, losing sucks more than anything. No way. I would never wish a loss for that team. No fucking way. I don't talk like that. No way. No way. Hey, I wish that. No way. Imagine Wentz joining Doug again by week 9. No way would I root for that team to lose. I refuse to go down that lane. I have never wished, even my Canes, for them to lose. Now, I've been upset about them and how they do their operation. God, that organization is not going to fix this. Owner's not going to do anything about it. It's not losing, it's how we lose. That hurts the worst. No fight, no heart. The only way you want losses is a year like the Bears had recently for a guy like Caleb Williams and the Panthers pick. Seems like the team is waiting for Nick to be gone. Will they wake up then? No. Hoss, wait a minute, podcast. They gave him the week off. They gave him the week off. I don't think anything's wrong. Gave him a week off. By the way, I heard something that John McMullen said this morning. He's right. By the way, I think this echoes in what Brian Baldinger said. That Bryce Huff is in a poor system. Well, what I would do is, and I'm going to expand a little bit on what John said, put him in his role like he was in New York. Just rush him on third down. See if that helps. John says that 3-down thing is over with. 4 games in to the 2024 season. You got a man that covers the team like McMullen saying that experiment has sailed. Which means already the sign was a failure. Hey, I told you that would be a good sign if you use him in the role on the other side of Reddick. And you had a guy who was a situational pass rusher, and he could come in and pass rush for you. But let me, Xander, everyone. Are they trying to change Bryce Huff? This is the best example of Hurts's failures. Are they trying to change Bryce Huff into being a 3-down player? Are they? Yes or no? They've said it, right? They want Bryce Huff to be a 3-down player. He's been in the league 6 years. Okay? Right? The Eagles thought they could change him into a 3-down player. Well, what makes you think they're not doing the same thing to Jalen Hurts by trying to make him into a pocket passer when we all see fully that he can't do it? Look what they're doing here. They think they fucking know better. They're trying to change Bryce Huff. They can't. They're trying to change Jalen Hurts. They can't. It's not just one player. They think they know better with all players. They thought they could do it with Huff. They thought they could do it with Wentz. And now they thought they can do it with Jalen Hurts. Dude, you draft people for who they are, what their skill set is. You put them in a defense that fits that skill set. Not everybody fits. So the Eagles looked at Bryce Huff and went, well, we see a gifted athlete. We see a guy who can rush the passer. He kind of resembles and kind of looks a little bit like Hassan Reddick. We'll develop him into being a 3-down player. Hey, not that Reddick was a world beater as a 3-down guy, but he's 10 times better than anything that guy. Dude, Bryce Huff is nowhere in the conversation as a talented football player as Hassan Reddick. I mean, Reddick is a 10. He's a 1. He's not even remotely close. And see, Howie thought he would get ahead of himself. And he went into the draft and he looked at Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith was a weak side edge rusher at Georgia. I went back and looked. Had a couple shoulder injuries when he was at Georgia, and his production was low. They saw him at the combines. They fell in love with him. Saw his 4.4 and said, we can work with him and try to make him into something. Jalix Hunt. They see the same stuff and they're trying to make him into something. You've never developed an edge rusher. You've never drafted a corner. You've never developed a linebacker in 20 years. What makes you think now that has changed? What is their problem? Draft people to their skills. Coach them to their skills. You know, this is why you look at a place like New England during Brady's time. It's not just Brady. It's going out and getting linebackers and O-line and receivers that fit a skill set and fit an offense that fits the direction of what they want to do. Do you know why the Eagles have a tough time getting Goddard involved when AJ and Devontae are on the field? Because they have pieces on the field that don't fit the quarterback skill set. Like Xander says all the time about Purdy. Man, Purdy spreads the ball around and knows what he's doing. Well, you got a coach in Kyle Shanahan that knows that quarterback skill set. He can spread the ball around. Doesn't have the greatest arm, but he knows where to go with the ball. Those are all pluses. Some go like this. He's got a lot of skill set to Jimmy Garoppolo. That tells you exactly what he's looking for at quarterback. By the way, he tried to deviate off that with Trey Lance. What happened? Complete shit show. Complete shit show. But the one thing they did do was move off it quick. No, that's not my skill. If that were the Eagles, Trey Lance would still be the starting quarterback in Philly. Bryce Huff is exactly the problem with the organization. He's the poster child for it. He is the poster child. Well, you know, he had 480 snaps. I brought this up in the entire offseason. He had 480 snaps. Remember me asking Xander this? So you're going to up that to about 850 snaps this year. And you think his production is going to be what it was a year ago? I never thought it was. I thought he'd have 4 sacks this year, most. Because you're asking him to do a ton of other things. Dude, one of the reasons Bradbury's production went down, he had 1,051 snaps. Production was not going to be high. Dude, Anthony. Here, Anthony. Nick Sirianni is a Band-Aid resolution. It's a Band-Aid. Fire Nick. For what? Nick does nothing now. What impact would he have on the team? Dude, in my opinion, I think the owner and the general manager are the ones in Sirianni's ear because of Julian Laurie and the analytics department. You know who's losing games and hurts the most? The analytics department. But that's the owner's kid. Look at all those things that they do wrong. And the 10 things they do right. They drowned out all the great shit they do. Contracts. Finding veterans around the league to come in and help. Last 2 years, it hasn't been good. but they've done some good things. Building of O-linemen. Fantastic. Isn't it funny? You find Wentz and you find Hurts and you have guys. The organization systematically destroys them. What's the moral of this story, Anthony? Let football people be football people and bankers be bankers. Let guys deal with the money and let guys deal with football. Cut the room down the middle and you'll be in a better place. Let people do their jobs instead of having one guy do everyone's job. That's what you got here. I'm telling you, man, that Chip Kelly thing, fucked that organization up so bad. And then here's the deal. What really sucks, they get to the Super Bowl in 22. And he's crowned the best general manager in football. Laurie needs to have a serious come-to-Jesus moment with himself on the direction of this team. Think about this. So they get to the Super Bowl in 22. Howie gets dubbed this great GM by everyone. You know what? The public perception on him is insane. And it's not true. I pointed out yesterday, he's pathetic on defense. Dude, he has not drafted in the last 6 years a Pro Bowler on defense. There's not a guy on the football team from the 17 draft and back, except for Brandon Graham, who he didn't draft. For every Devontae Smith, you got a Whiteside, and you've got a Rager. I'm not saying that all GMs hit. They don't. But you got to at least look at your failures. I mean, this Browns game coming out of the bye is gargantuan. You go 2-3. The patience level in that building, they'll be even more screaming. I mean, dude, John McMullen gave me that take. Well, you need to do exactly what Bryce Huff did when he was with the Jets. I was like, huh. He was situational, came off the bench, played 480 snaps, and was really in a situation where they brought him in to just be an isolated pass rusher. That's his skill set. Then I started thinking about it. Oh, wait a minute. Well, the Eagles are doing the same thing to Bryce Huff they're doing to JALEN. They're trying to turn him into something he's not. I mean, if that's not on display for you, I don't know what else is. Get this. Since you're making Jeffrey sound like a dumbass football guy, which he is. He should have worked on common sense before he worked on being a billionaire. It's worth more. It's actually a really great take. Every issue we have now 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, have a common denomination, Howie. He can't draft. 17 made Howie think he's a talent guy. One of the worst drafters I've ever seen on D. They're just requiring JALEN to be a quarterback. How is that asking for too much? You're asking him to play a different style of game. You're asking him to be a pocket passer. He's not. He was benched in Alabama because he was not that. Get this, Dodd. By the way, guys, please hit the like button. Jalen Hurts has had different coordinators every year since he's been an Eagle quarterback. How is he supposed to evolve in a system and scheme with that much turnover, analytics, jerking yourself? Hey, Dodd, are you're addressing the organization again, aren't you? Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the conversation. I mean, yeah, man, I was listening to these to Xander go, hey, look at the schedule coming up. We got a pretty easy schedule coming up. And I'm like, you ain't got anything easy. You ain't got any. Well, the Browns, we should win that. And I'm like, you ain't fucking gonna. You're playing 60 minutes of football for the next 3 months of football, including that shitty Giant game. By the way, the pizza guy beat you last year. And you had all your dudes. Here was Xander. Oh, Giants, yeah. Browns, yeah. Swiss cheese. I mean, no holds defense. Yeah, we'll get to. Oh my God, I can't wait for Baltimore. I tell you what, I'm gonna come on the show on Monday, and I'm gonna have goggles on after that Sunday game. Hey, I'm gonna wear goggles because the strap metal is going to be everywhere after Derrick Henry. Xander's Alabama guy. Hey, how many body bags are you gonna need? That's gonna be the new body bag game too. How many body bags for that Baltimore game between Lamar and Derrick Henry? Let's see. Huff will be in a body bag. Dean will be clearly in a body bag. Let's see. Is there a stretcher big enough to put Jalen or Jordan Davis on? Because the big fella probably needs one of them big old those big tractors they have out there. So they have put his ass out there on the back of that. Probably need like an engine lift to get his ass on the back of that thing. Holy shit. Body bag game 2. How you doing? Man. Yeah, here was I'm going to get Xander on here a second. Here's Xander. Yeah, the Browns.